Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you. Welcome to the Full 100. Today is Thursday, the 9th of July, and it's a pretty poor day outside in the UK today. Guys, I've got an update show for you guys today. So those of you who watched my video on Tuesday regarding the shootings over the Independence Day weekend will remember what that topic was. So guys, without further ado, let's get to it. Right, guys, I brought you that story the other day because something about it sort of bothered me. I had no evidence of it, but what bothered me the most was the amount of children that were killed. I mean, one kid ran into his auntie's house and was just shot for no reason. It smelled of an agenda to put a lot of killings on the news, because you kill a child is going to make the news. And there were many children killed. You're going to see in the video on the show. And so something about it sort of did not sit well with me. And it just got me remembering the fact that right through this whole process that we've been going through since George Floyd, we've had a lot of imposters, a lot of impersonators, and a lot of fake rioters who were really on the other side trying to create havoc, trying to push for the race riot type of thing and disorganized and just chaos agenda, which I believe is still on their mind, the right wing nuts, Trump included. And I was right. I'm beginning to be right, and I'll tell you why. Obviously I called that on Tuesday. Yesterday, Wednesday, on the CNN late night show, which we watched that at about 2 in the morning, but it's aired around about 9 o'clock in the US. And so basically what's happened, guys, is that I'm going to show you the clips and then I'll speak to you guys. So take a look at my first clip, guys.
The number of homicides are spiking. Look at the data. New York, Chicago, Louisville, Philadelphia, New Orleans, Denver, Miami. And the White House says it cares.
I didn't receive one question about New York City shootings doubling for the third straight week, and over the last 7 days, shootings skyrocket by 142%. Not one question. We need to be focused on securing our streets, making sure no lives are lost.
Now, that press conference yesterday has pushed me closer to seeing this as a conspiracy. And you know who else is thinking like I am? Chris Cuomo, who's CNN news guy, whose brother is the governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo. Looks like the right wing are angry that no one's asking them questions about this. Why aren't you asking us about all the shootings? How come we've done all these shootings for you lot to ask and you guys haven't asked us any questions? Why? Can't you see there are all these shootings? I mean, we want you to understand that police force is needed. It looks like they were angry that questions weren't being asked. Well, maybe questions aren't being asked because there's so much other stuff going on. Like 132,000 dead in America and they're still fighting over masks. Maybe that's why. But guess what? I hope they don't ask questions, because if they don't, maybe they'll stop killing them. Take a look at the next video.
No way to do those things. So why do they care? Well, they care if they can blame it on their opponents. But let's see how Miss I Won't Lie to You and the rest of Team Trump feel after we drop some truth on their roof. The increases started in June. You say, hey, wasn't that say about the same time as the protests? All those calls to defund the police? That's got to be the reason. See, you turn on the cops and the criminals run wild. That's why she wants questions about it. To say that, right?
Look, I'm still very disturbed, because if this is what they're doing, guys, they're taking black lives to make a point and then they're blaming it on the community, and it's very disturbing. And I hope we get down to the bottom of it, just like they caught that Air Force sergeant who thought that black people will be arrested for the 2 murders and 1 attempted murder on officers that he carried out himself personally. The guy from the Boogaloo movement, which is the right-wing Boogaloo people, okay? These guys want a race war. This is what their whole agenda is, okay? To cause a race war and probably split the country up so Trump can be president of half the country and they can give the other half to the liberals. exactly what their ancestors did during the Civil War. And it's very disturbing. But guys, regardless of where the argument goes, my next video will show you that we're dying of everything, man. We are dying of everything. We're dying of bad health. We're dying of corona. We're dying of poor health care. We're dying of poverty-related deaths. It's just us. New laws coming, we're the targets. Guys, I am tired. Enough is enough. Those of you who watch this, we have 1 million people march coming up at the end of August, the bank holiday weekend. Hashtag Notting Hill Carnival takeover. Guys, we've got to do something about it. We have to. Take a look at my next video.
These 6 dead kids shot over the holiday weekend, all between the ages of 6 and 14. They weren't targets. They were living in the wrong place at the wrong time, like too many generations of kids before them. Violent crime rates have been falling for decades. But that stat belies the reality that black lives just don't seem to matter as much. Black people are still 10 times more likely to lose their life in a shooting than whites. Chicago had 1,200 extra officers patrolling the 4th of July weekend. It's not enough. Why? Because cops can't change poverty. Here's what the president says.
Welcome back, guys. I'm not even going to show you Trump's response to this because, quite frankly, he's irrelevant. He's irrelevant. But this is the result of his last 3.5 years. This is what his 3.5 years, guys, has done to black folk in America. This will take another 3.5, 4 years to reverse before we even start gaining traction from where we were before Trump. Take a look, guys.
He is lying, period. Income inequality is the highest it's been since the government started tracking it 5 decades ago. This administration has only made it harder to be poor. How? Kicking families off food stamps, reducing access to Medicaid and dozens of other federal aid programs. The administration is currently rolling back fair housing rules during a pandemic. He's tried every year of his administration to cut billions from public housing. He's also tried to get rid of help for minority businesses, before and after school programs, low-income heating assistance, rental assistance, and job training. Now, historically black colleges and universities just got a boost from Trump. Let's tell it both ways. But when it comes to K-12, we still spend way less on black kids than white, even when you adjust for poverty.
Welcome back, guys. The UK is no different, guys. I'm just tired of it. The UK is no different. Guys, we know, okay, that when Social Security and benefits, when they're tightened and when they get meaner, it's really targeted at black people. And those whites who are caught up in it, unfortunately for them. Right? If you're caught up in it and you're black, that's the target. If you're white folk or white family who get caught up in it, like, sorry, collateral damage. Right? We know that public housing isn't invested in. Public schools are not invested in because of the high proportion of minorities, immigrants, children, and blacks in them. Our schools and our infrastructures in our neighborhoods are watched and they watch them deteriorate. I'm finding it hard, guys, to speak because I am really upset and I'm trying to control my emotions talking about this. So please bear with me, okay? But we know these things are planned out. And this is part of what we're fighting for, guys. Remember that. Yes, you might have bought your house and you've come out of public housing. However, your child might start up that ladder just like you did, or you might have done. Never mind your child, it could be a relative of yours. It could be somebody you know. It could be you one day. You lose your home. You know, These things are worth fighting for. And that's what we are doing. And we need all of you to join in the fight. Guys, I'm going to switch up now and give you an update on George Floyd, who is the person who started this whole movement, whose death started this whole movement. I don't know if it's his death that started the movement or if it's Officer Chauvin's sadistic murder of a person that started it. But whichever one it is, here's updates on it. Take a look at my first video, guys.
I haven't forgotten about the death of George Floyd. You can never do that. You can't. It means too much. One of the police officers charged is now trying to get the case against him thrown out. And through that effort, we just learned a lot more about what was really said by that officer, but also by George Floyd in his final moments. What both mean for the case. Counselor Coates, next. Third hand. More than 20 times, all right, some context. What was George Floyd saying to these officers? What were the officers saying to each other? Now, you know that he was communicating he could not breathe. But we had never heard the actual footage of the body cam, all right, which will be a big part of the official record. We now know, though, because of a new court filing, what's on those cameras, okay? Specifically, because lawyers for one of the officers charged in his death are trying to get his case removed, dismissed.
Welcome back, guys. Now they're stabbing each other in the back, trying to save their own necks. Didn't try to save him properly on that day, though, did they? They're only saving him now because this whole thing blew up. They're only trying to say he's trying to say he did something, or he tried to help, or he was concerned for George, only because he's in trouble. Take another look.
Now, we haven't seen the body cam video, but this filing includes an 82-page transcript. So there's lots to dig through. No better to do it with than Laura Coates. Floyd was telling them, Laura, he couldn't breathe before they had him on the ground. What does that mean? And accent that with, at the end, his in extremis aspects. Tell my mother I love her. Tell my family I love her. That type of talk. Significance.
Well, this case really remains heartbreaking, even with this transcript. And of course, I'm glad you mentioned the part that we still have not seen and heard, so we don't know about the tones that were used. We don't know about the demeanor of anyone speaking. All we see is sort of the black and white issues of what is in type. What we see really gives a clearer picture, and it has a couple interesting points. Number one, we were all led to believe in many respects that the very first time he indicated an inability to breathe or a fear that he could not breathe was when he was on the ground under the knee, unfortunately, of Officer Chauvin. But
we're now at my last video, which is the last part of the George Floyd update. Now, you got to ask yourself, what kind of argument can they have? And that's what this video is going to show you in a minute. But regardless of the situation, we must have a conviction. We must have a conviction of all of them, because I don't know any member of the public out of those 4 officers involved that day that will walk away from that situation if that person was a human being. If you black, white, and they saw you do that. So take a look at the last piece, and this is what the argument is. Take a look.
Go in the back of the squad car. I remember you were talking weeks ago about why do they keep moving him around? Why was he going from place to place? Well, part of that, according to the transcript, was that he wanted to get out of the squad car. He felt claustrophobic. He was concerned about being inside there. He'd apparently been shot before by an officer, he said. So
he started telling officers he's claustrophobic. He couldn't breathe when they were trying to get him in the squad car. Now, you can have the whole argument about whether they believed him or not, but we now know that that was something that was actually being said. He asked Lane not to shoot him, and then you go to the other side. Thomas Lane may have a case that he did say to Chauvin, should we turn him around? Should we turn him around? I'll turn him on his side. I'm worried about this. But he never got off of him. And his argument will be, well, I didn't know what else to do. How strong is that legally?
Right. Well, the idea that he was just following orders, we know thematically over the course of history is what many people have actually said. However, it has to persuade a jury that he really did not understand that the probable cause of the action of Chauvin was going to result in the killing of a human being.
Back, guys. We've come to the end of the show, guys. Stay tuned to the full 100. Tell your friends to subscribe. This is where we keep you guys updated on what's going on right around the world, whether it's COVID-19 or whether it's the protest from London. We're at ground zero bringing you that quality information always. One other thing, guys, in the meantime, we're putting together a 1 million people march. As I said earlier, that march is going to be on Bank Holiday Sunday. 1 million people march. Let's show them we're serious about these, guys. You're going to see all the associations and all the organizations behind it. You've heard it here first. Bank Holiday. Hashtag Notting Hill Carnival Takeover. Guys, thank you again for watching. I look forward to seeing you guys all tomorrow, Friday, end of the week. And I look forward to bringing you the events on over the weekends at the protests. Okay? In the meantime, take care of yourselves. Stay alert on the COVID and stay informed. Take care. Bye-bye.